the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray are breaking up.
Yes.
And they will attempt to trade him over the next week. They will not be able to. They will then release him. And Kyler's in an interesting situation in which he's a free agent, and money isn't really going to be a factor because these teams will pay him a small amount of money, and the Arizona Cardinals are essentially going to take care of the rest. So two things we need to tackle immediately. Number one, should the Jets go after Kyler Murray? And then, of course, number two, why the hell would Kyler Murray want the New York Jets?
Well, so I think Kyler Murray would want the Jets because if you start looking at the other options, there really aren't a ton. Like, where is he going to go make a difference?
The Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
That's the team.
Does he feel like Kevin O'Connell type of guy? The way that offense has historically run, even, whether it was with J.J. McCarthy or Sam Darnold a couple years ago, it doesn't feel like that's the kind of player that Kevin O'Connell would want as his quarterback. Now, I might be wrong, but Minnesota's one. Where else? Like, there's not a lot of landing spots where he's going to go in and potentially steal the starting job. Indy would be one, depending on the health of Daniel Jones. But we saw yesterday, we talked about nobody gets a transition tag. Daniel Jones got transition tagged by the Indianapolis Colts. So they clearly want him and think he's going to be healthy. There's just not a ton of options for Kyler Murray to go be a starter somewhere. Now, if he wants to just go, hey, I've been in the league for 7 years. This will be my 8th season. I'm comfortable just being a backup. That doesn't feel like Kyler Murray.
No, he's going to want to start.
He's going to want to start. And if he's going to want to start, there are less than a handful of teams that he can go compete with and maybe be a starter with. The Jets are one of them. So that's why he would want to be here.
So let me get this straight. Tiki's reasoning, number one, for why Kyler would take us is that he doesn't have any other options.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, that's a big one, though.
No, it's fair because if you really expand the list, Minnesota, it starts and ends with Minnesota. To me, the Minnesota Vikings, for every single quarterback available, will be the most appealing landing spot.
Yes.
The coach's reputation, the roster, Justin Jefferson. I mean, you go through the list. The Minnesota Vikings would be everyone's number one preferred list, but they're only going to add one quarterback. And it may not be Kyler Murray, to your point. I have no idea who it's going to be. We'll try to guess coming up with quarterback bingo real soon, but I don't know the answer. So then after Minnesota, the holy grail of where quarterbacks would want to go, do the Cleveland Browns go after a quarterback?
Well, I feel like they're locked in, unfortunately, with Deshaun Watson. To me...
What about Shedeur Sanders? He was a Pro Bowler.
And him as well.
Right.
But... they can't go spend money on another quarterback. They just can't. Their quarterback room is already accounting for way too much money on their cap right now. So they have another year of dealing, put that in quotes, with Deshaun Watson. Maybe if it was 2027, but not in 2026.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are another team where you squint your eyes and you can see them going after a quarterback because until Aaron Rodgers does resign, which he probably will, but we don't know for sure, Aaron Rodgers is a little quirky. He's a little unpredictable. Would the Pittsburgh Steelers go after him? But I think your point is well taken. Like, you go around the league, and we could play this game all day. The Miami Dolphins are like the other obvious one. I happen to think, and I'll be proven right or wrong in the next week and a half, that they are a tanking team. So I don't see them going after Malik Willis and Kyler Murray.
But why would you tank in your first year?
To get the best quarterback possible a year from now.
Yeah, but you might.
You know why?
But you might have that guy in Malik Willis if he signs with you.
That's true.
Because he's young, he's somewhat proven because he has played some games.
He's played like 5 games.
Yeah,
Come on.
But he looked good. It's not like he looked like he was inept as a young player for the Green Bay Packers. And so, given the tie to Jeff Hafley, who is their new head coach, it just kind of makes sense that that's where he's going to end up.
Well, and if that's where he ends up, then no Kyler Murray.
By the way, we'll find out very early next week. Malik Willis is likely one of the first players to sign.
And very early, we're going to find out, and I heard Gio saying this too, so we're lockstep on this, that we both think the Dolphins are tanking. Well, guess what? We're going to find out in a week.
Yeah.
If they go after Kyler Murray or they go after Malik Willis, then they're not. Then we're wrong. They're trying to win right now. Maybe they think one of those two guys can be the answers.
But your point is well taken. My point, what I'm saying, and you're proving, there's not a lot of landing spots for Kyler Murray.
No, and you know what the other thing about the Jets? Let me talk up my woebegone football team that we trash most of the time. They have a really solid offensive line. They have a legitimate number one wide receiver in Garrett Wilson.
Yes.
They've got a legitimate bell cow running back in Breece Hall who's coming back, as we saw yesterday with the franchise tag. Like, it is not the worst situation. And, oh, by the way, they have an offensive coordinator who's got a proven track record.
Right.
So despite the Jets' overall record and the overall embarrassment that is New York Jets football, when you just look at the offensive side, you can see why it's appealing.
Yeah.
Now, let's get to us. Because as you may or may not recall, and don't worry, I'll remind you, on the December 5th edition of Evan and Tiki, I brought up Kyler Murray's name to you after Jonathan Gannon announced they were going to bench his ass. And I remember what you said.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember what you said.
Oh, I know how I feel about him.
Well, we'll play it at 10:20 just to hear the tone. But as we sit here today, and I do want to say that we are all open to changing our opinions.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that as long as you explain why. Sometimes circumstances change. As we sit here today on March 4th, a week away before a free agency officially begins and the league year begins, and we know that the Jets are a blank slate when it comes to quarterback, and now we know who the offensive coordinator is in Frank Reich. I ask you this. Do you think it makes sense for the New York Jets, if there is a mutual interest, to bring in Kyler Murray to this quarterback room?
No, I think it's still Kirk Cousins. Now, Kyler Murray is an interesting alternative option, but I don't trust Kyler Murray's ability to be successful, at least sustain success. Part of that is because of the injuries that he's sustained over the last few years.
Injuries are a fair critique.
Huge. I mean, it's a huge critique. And he's a smaller quarterback. He's now 28, 29 years old. And so how long is it going to be before injury and age become the issue for him? And I mean, I actually like him. I've done a couple of interviews with him. His leadership style is unique because it's not very bombastic and outward. And he's not like, come on, guys, let's go charge into the foxhole. That's not him. He's more kind of by an example type player. And that worries me a little bit for a team that has been leaderless for a last few years. And so I like Kyler Murray. I don't know if he's right for the Jets.
Well, a couple of things about Kyler Murray. So his career resume so far reeks of someone who was in his location way too long. And so the fan base and the ownership and everyone around that organization said, okay, time's up.
Yeah.
You were a number one overall pick. And when you draft someone number one overall, there are huge expectations. For those expectations, Kyler Murray did not hit those.
Right.
There's been a few different head coaches. He would now be going on his third different head coach. And so I think we need to start with why they're moving on. It was clearly time.
Right.
Now, I look at what he's accomplished in his first 7 years, and I'm actually really impressed. And I'd argue that 2 years ago in 2024, he was better than Aaron Rodgers. And by the way,
when he's at his peak, he's really good.
His peak was a year and a half ago.
Yes.
And that wasn't even his peak. I'm just using that as a recent example because last year was such a lost season.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals ended up benching him, and it was a mess. It was a disaster. He was hurt the whole thing.
2 years ago, he was hurt. He only played 8 games.
Dude, the injuries are fair. Right. And that's why I say you're right. It's a part of his resume. But the other part of his resume is that he's been a really solid quarterback when he's played. And a part of why his win-loss record maybe isn't as impressive as Kirk Cousins is, I'd ask you, how many big-time defenses has he been a part of? How many?
Not very many.
No, basically none.
Right.
Like, I was going through the Arizona Cardinal defensive rankings since he took over as starting quarterback back in 2019. They're basically 25th every single year.
Yeah.
And look, that means,
I think their best player was Hassan Reddick.
Yeah.
For one of those years.
There you go. There you go. So I think the win-loss record, which sometimes we put way too much stock in, it's misleading. We have to look at the way he's played. He's a multi-time Pro Bowler. I know that Pro Bowls are things that we throw out.
They're invalidated.
But you know what I do? And I think this is where I am warmed to the idea of Kyler Murray. And I've always been warmed. And we'll play the clip from December. I was interested in him then. Is that he is still young. He has still played better at this position than really anyone the Jets have had in multiple decades. And I believe that the critiques about him in terms of loving football and working hard, I believe the buck stops here. If he doesn't walk into a new destination and a new location where I think he has to be humbled when you look at the salary structure and even the quarterback room, because I'm not handing him the quarterback job. You'd have to think if he's ever going to learn, if he's ever going to be that guy that you can grow into being, it would be right now.
He's got to earn it.
He is a lottery ticket, but it's a far different lottery ticket than Justin Fields. He's a lottery ticket who's done it before. He's a lottery ticket who's shown you what he can be.
Right.
And so there's a reason I have him fourth on the Evan Roberts quarterback big board.
I forgot he was fourth on your board.
Yes. I'm intrigued by him.
Yeah.
And A caller described this yesterday. I want to give him all the credit in the world because he listens to us and listens to my opinions and your opinions and defined my opinions with a term. He said, Evan, you're a passive-aggressive tanker. And the way he described it, it is so true. Here's what it means. I don't want to tank.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not sitting here telling you I want to lose.
Okay.
I didn't argue with you about Kirk Cousins because I want to lose. I want the greater reward. I want the greater swing for the fence. Where if I hit the ball out of the ballpark, I got my quarterback for the next 10 years. Let's go.
Right.
And if I don't, it's a disaster.
But then it's okay?
And it's okay because I get a number 1, number 2, number 3 overall pick.
So you're okay with the losing because of what it projects for the next season?
I'm okay with the losing, but I also have a chance.
But isn't that a loser mentality?
No.
That is such a loser mentality.
Because you didn't listen to the other part.
Which is?
The reward is a lot higher than Kirk Cousins or a guy of that ilk, and you know that. You cannot argue that Kirk Cousins supplies a bigger upside than Kyler Murray, because if you argue it, you're lying, and you're not a liar.
No, I mean, look.
So tell me I'm right.
I think the Kirk Cousins promotion from me is because I think he fits what Frank Reich wants to do.
That, by the way, that is one concern I do have. And I heard Boomer and Gio talking about this morning, and I have to at least acknowledge it because I can't just leave out the stuff I don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray does not feel like a fit for Frank Reich. But my problem is, Frank, if you're listening, I respect you. I think you're really good at what you do, and I'm glad you took this job. Sometimes in sports, the best coaches don't just bring in the players that fit them, but they adjust to the players that make the most sense.
The problem is I don't know if there's an example of that. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
There's not an example of Frank Reich taking a quarterback who was atypical of what he's used to doing.
Tiny.
Well, not even tiny. It's just more, you got to move the ball from the snap. It's got to move off the line, meaning the quarterback drop back line. It's out of the pocket. It's using his athletic. You don't see that. And the one example that he had that was with Bryce Young in Carolina. And that was a disaster. He got fired after, 12 weeks?
Not a fair comp.
Completely not fair. But it's the one example you can show. You can't even really say in Philadelphia with the Jalen Hurts thing because he wasn't really the guy. He left and became the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. And so there's not a ton of examples of him using a quarterback like Kyler Murray and finding success. That doesn't mean he can't do it. But where is Frank Reich? Where is his mindset right now? What is he thinking about as a 60-plus-year-old coach who, 6 months ago, he probably was on the verge of retiring. Mm-hmm. And now he's got to, refigure how to be a successful offensive coordinator for a team where he's going to get a ton of responsibility because Aaron Glenn's not covering the offensive side. It's all him, and he's got to put an offense together for a quarterback who he's not used to. Like that makes it feel like this could turn into a disaster, which is why you need a veteran like Kirk Cousins who is just aware. He'll help you in that quarterback room, whereas I don't know if Kyler Murray is helping you in that quarterback room.
So here's what concerns me about a lot of what you're saying and even what a lot of boomers said. With all due respect to Frank Reich, and I'm glad he took the job, I think he's a very solid hire.
Yeah.
I do not want the Jets making decisions based on what a 61-year-old offensive coordinator wants. That's not healthy. Now, I get it. He should have input. I'm not saying ignore him. I'm not saying tie him up on the side of the room.
But don't you have to put him in position to be successful?
Yes. No, I'm not disagreeing with that. But I also think if you're a good coach, you're open-minded to coaching anybody. And here's the question I would ask you. You know the quarterbacks that are available and could be available. Who's got the biggest upside? Answer that question, Teak. And it's not Kirk Cousins. Don't waste our time with that.
No.
Who is it?
It's Malik Willis has the biggest upside.
He's up there, okay. I have him ahead of Kyler Murray, by the way. Malik Willis is fine.
I just don't think he's not coming here.
Okay, who's number 2? Because I'll give you Malik Willis. He's up on my list, too. You don't like Anthony Richardson, so it's not him.
No.
Just say his name. It's Kyler Murray.
It probably is Kyler Murray.
So understand why that makes a lot of sense for this team in this moment.
But it's also a lottery ticket.
Yeah, what's wrong with a lottery ticket?
It's because the lottery sucks.
It does. But the last lottery ticket they bought.
When's the last person you met that won a lottery?
I think the Vikings sort of did with Sam Darnold.
No. I mean, like a friend.
Oh, in general?
In general.
I was using the quarterback lottery.
Right. Nobody wins a lottery. Do you know anybody that's ever won a lottery?
No, but I can name examples of quarterback lotteries that have been pseudo won. I think in a lot of ways the Vikings took a lottery ticket out on Sam Darnold.
The Seahawks with Geno.
The Seahawks with Geno. Even Indianapolis with Daniel Jones before he got hurt. Like, there are examples of this. And so where I'm at as a Jet fan is I don't want to lose, Tiki, because I think you hear that and you just ignore the rest of it.
Right.
I don't want to lose. What I'm saying is I want to try to go big game hunting. And if it doesn't work and it's a disaster, that's better than settling for bunt singles off of CeCe Sabathia, which is what Kirk Cousins would be.
Right. No.
Sorry to use your friend as an example.
No, it's fine. But still, I just think he's more suited to win in the short term. And then you figure out your quarterback in 2027. I think the challenge becomes if you sign Kyler Murray after he gets released, which seems is going to happen in relatively soon.
Yes.
You sign Kyler Murray, and then he's just okay, but not bad, but maybe there's something there. You get stuck in the Giants' Daniel Jones predicament.
No, you don't.
Where you have him and he's here, and it prevents you from doing anything else.
That's not true. I'll tell you why. What kind of contract is Kyler Murray going to sign next week?
No idea.
I'm going to assume.
I honestly have no idea.
Okay.
Because I would have thought that Justin Fields was signing a 2-year, $12 million contract. Instead, he got 2 years, 40 with 30 guaranteed. That made no damn sense.
I get it. So you're taking shots at the Jets as we talk.
Hell yeah, I'm taking shots at the Jets.
Right,
Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn and Woody Johnson.
That was a
thinking,
bad move.
We're gonna make this kid into something that 6 years has told us he's not.
That was a bad move.
Like, what the hell?
It was a lottery ticket. And the reality is, even though they did give him a 2-year deal and they're going to take some of the brunt this year with some dead cap money, they're out of it. They moved on. And I would assume Kyler Murray is signing a similar kind of contract where you can get out of it. You really can. And by the way, if I'm Kyler Murray, you know what I would sign? A 1-year contract. I'd want to ball out, put up massive numbers, and then get to free agency, where either my team's going to tag me, which is an obscene amount of money, or I'm going to get a big contract elsewhere. So if I'm right that he signs a 1-year contract for that reason for Kyler Murray himself, which makes sense for him, then it's an evaluation year for everybody. If he turns into the guy, then you keep him. If it doesn't work out like Justin Fields did, and it's the disaster that it will likely be because, hey, we're the New York Jets, then you're picking high in the draft.
Right.